I got 6 books for you that feel like Ghibli films. They have that vibe for me. We'll get this out of the way right off the bat. I say Ghibli. I know a lot of people say Ghibli. That sounds wrong to me. That sounds like you're saying giblets. I do think that might be the correct way of doing it because of is it Japanese pronunciation? However, I'm gonna say Ghibli because that's how I've always said it and it feels right. I got 6 books. The theme with some of them is definitely that they feel like Howl's Moving Castle. That is my favourite Ghibli film, along with Spirited Away and Princess Mononoke and Castle in the Sky. Those are like my top 4 favourite films. So if they bear any resemblance to those films, that is why. So the first book on my list is House of Frank by Kay Sinclair. This is a brilliant bindery publication about Saika, who is taking her sister's ashes to the famed Ash Gardens, which is an arboretum. They perform funerals. And there she meets Frank, who is a giant beast who wears cardigans, and he runs the place. She feels like she's not quite ready to say goodbye to her sister, and so puts off the funeral for as long as she can. And in the process, she discovers a lot more about the decaying house at Ash Gardens where Frank lives, along with a number of other quirky characters who she will soon learn to love, and she learns about how Ash Gardens functions. This is a fantasy book, if the cardigan monster wasn't enough of a pointer there, and it's just lovely. Found family is the real theme here. It's the real draw for this book. There's a lot of exploration of grief, which I think happens in a lot of Ghibli films, and just the bizarre characters, including bickering cherubs, a cantankerous elf, a half-witch, and a mute ghost. Saika learns to find joy in life again and find her place in the world after her sister's death, and it's just a really beautiful story. Next on the list is Fog and Fireflies by T H Lehnen. I was sent an arc of this, I think it was the year before last, so 2024, when it came out. I also got to interview the author for the Fantasy Hive. This is a fantastic indie pub book about a world where a wizard war has left everywhere blanketed in a malevolent fog. The fog is deadly only to adults, so because of this, children are forced into very adult positions. They patrol the walls of the villages. They are the ones that go out and about while the adults stay inside to protect themselves. We follow Ogma, whose village is attacked one day by the fog, and she and her fellow children of the village are forced to defend the village as best they can from this fog, which Ogma then gets lost in, and she has to uncover the secrets of the fog in order to help save her village. It is such beautiful writing. It is such a beautiful premise. It explores real themes of like infantilism and parentification. The way that this world is described and the sort of the bizarre, quirky roots of mythology and folk tales that you sort of half know are depicted throughout the story. It's just such a lovely book. Like it's a little bit creepy and it's a little bit sinister, but it also like warms your heart a little bit, you know? I have not recommended this one in a long time because I'd forgotten about it until I read this list, and I can't believe I have. I might have to reread it, but it's just so brilliant. I loved it so much, and it's really got that feel of a Ghibli film where the protagonist is doing their best to fight and save their home and save what they believe in, with the slightly weird eccentric creatures all around them. So the next 3 are very much Howl's Moving Castle coded. To start with, we've got The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. Mika Moon is one of the few witches in Britain. She has to hide her magic and keep her head down, but she has this YouTube channel where she pretends to be a witch and does like minor magic that people pass off as like CGI effects or something. And because of this, someone reaches out to her and asks if she can be a ward for 2 young witches, real life witches, living in this hidden house that no one can find. They are being looked after by a motley crew of people. There's definitely a theme with these books, who love these children dearly but show it in their own ways. Among them is Jamie, who is a handsome and prickly librarian for the place, and he does not love that Mika is there, but everyone else is very grateful for it. So you have very much a grumpy Howl and a practical Sophie vibe with these 2. It is a romance and it's just lovely. I won't use the term cozy because it's not really cozy, but it is a very like homey romance with some brilliantly eclectic characters, some world building that's really easy to pick up on, and it's just a believable story set in modern day Britain that I think more people should read if they haven't already. In Half a Soul, we follow Theodora Ettings, who's been cursed by a fairy. Because of this curse has stolen half of her soul. She no longer feels happiness or embarrassment or fear, which naturally gets her into quite a lot of trouble in Regency era England. Dora's goal for the season is to make sure that her lovely cousin who she lives with manages to find a husband, which is what she wants, and to do her best to stay out of scandal and to avoid taking the spotlight away from her cousin. Naturally, none of that goes to plan when Dora runs into the Lord Sorcier of England, who is like the head wizard, Elias Wilder, who is a grumpy Howl character. He's uncouth, he does what he likes, and apparently he can do 3 impossible things before breakfast. He catches wind of her curse and wants to do his best to break it. Can you see the Howl's Moving Castle similarities here? And naturally, it turns into a bit of a romance, but it's also funny, and there is a murder mystery which is quite harrowing, and you get sprinklings of fae and understandings of how the fae world intertwines with the magic in this world. I really enjoyed it. It's quite a short book, but it's so readable and just feels a little bit different to every other Regency romance you might have read. And the third House Moving Castle comparison is Agnes Orbert's mystical cat shelter. This one just came out, and we follow Agnes Orbert, or Aubert, because it's set in, I think, Quebec, or a French-speaking part of the country. And she has a cat shelter, which she is constantly low on funds, but then a rogue wizard duel busts one of the windows to the shelter that she is renting, and they have to move out because it's no longer habitable for her or the cats. And in desperation, they end up in this slightly dubious set of rooms where it becomes clear that someone is living in the basement. All is not as it seems, and the wizards that she desperately wants to stay away from might be a little bit closer to home than she expects. Again, we got a wizard Howl and a practical Sophie kind of element here, which I really, really love. There are so many good cats in this. There is such a good story. There's a really good twist. It is funny. It is witty. It is sharp. Agnes, she's a warrior, but she's also tied to her to-do lists. She has a very practical, chaotic sister who I really appreciate. And all of the cats are just delightful, and they do such catty things. The antagonist is a bitch, and it's very easy to hate her. And it's just such a lovely book to read, and it really, really gave you that like warm Ghibli feel that you get after each film. Last on my list, I couldn't not put a Tea Kingfisher on this list, is A Wizard's Guide to Defensive Baking. This is a YA / like middle grade level book. I think it's more YA, where we follow Mona, who isn't like the other wizards in the city. She has a sentient sourdough starter, and her magic can only control bread or bread related products. She can make gingerbread men dance. She leads a very comfortable life in her aunt's bakery, selling bread and tending to the sourdough starter, until she finds an assassin's dead body in her basement. She is then embroiled in a very complicated situation where there seems to be an assassin on the streets who is attacking wizards, and Mona might be next. But then things go very, very pear-shaped in the government of this city, and Mona might be the only one that has the answers. It is just a really witty, enjoyable romp of a T Kingfisher novel. It's definitely aimed at younger readers, but it's still so enjoyable to read and very easy, and again gives you that very like warm and cozy feeling when you read it. I would hugely recommend it. Again, you've got the bizarre motley crew of characters, and I really enjoy the wizards' random powers in this because they're all a bit odd and a bit like specific. Like it's a bit like superpowers where you can do like 1 or 2 specific things. Such an enjoyable book. I would highly recommend all of these books to you, because that is why I've made this video. Let me know if any of them stand out to you. Like and subscribe and all that good stuff, because it really helps me out. If you have any requests for recommendation themes for these videos, do let me know, and let me know which one of these you are most likely to pick up, or just leave me a cat emoji down in the comments, and I will see you in the next video.